Shoot. Oh no. Alright, I'm back. So I'm just gonna try to finish up my YouTube videos today. And oh, that's what I was gonna do. I'm trying to remember, like, just feels like all over the place. That's what I want. My content. I gotta just put some of this stuff. I just gotta publish this stuff. So people can watch my videos. And that's today, so... I'll come back to this. So, like, this is... I think what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to continue going through the Unity Learn projects, whatever they are. And then these tests for, like, the associate and the professional level are, like, really up there in price. I forgot that they were so expensive. I don't know why I thought they were, like, cheaper, but I think I can pass this test. And the other thing is, like, the practice test. Like, maybe I should pay for the practice test, take the practice test, because it's a 110. If I fail that, that's okay, because I think, yeah, I get this practice test for, like, 1 year. And, you know, take that test. If I pass it, then okay. But if I take the certification test, the voucher, which is this one, right? And I fail, there's no retake. So, yeah, there's no retake. I have to pay for this every time. I think there's bundles that come with the with a retake, but definitely don't want to take the test and fail. And I don't want to get the courseware, considering that the user level should have been the easiest and the best one, because it's just easy content. That wasn't very good. It wasn't a very good course. Maybe the other ones are going to be better, but you know, maybe not. So here's some bundles right here. So certification plus 1 retake. It ends up being like the same price, like 260 plus 130. Like, what the hell's the point? So you save, like, I guess you save money because, I mean, might as well just, like, buy the practice test and then pass the test on your first try. This is only, like, saves you money if you know, like, okay, I might fail, and then I have a chance to retake it for a cheaper price, but you've got to go in, like, wanting to pass on your first try because this is expensive. So... yeah, that is a lot. 260. Like, this one's pretty good. Get the certification and practice test. And so get the practice test for like 30 bucks. So, like, actually this one might be, like, really good. You get 60 days. But maybe that's what I want. Like, I don't want to take a year getting ready for this certification. So maybe this is one I'll get. Gives me 60 days to really prep for that. And I might be able to, like, I'm pretty sure you can just take the test as many times as you want. So, but I'll think on this. Maybe this is the one. Oh, this is the professional level too. I want to get the associate level. Maybe they don't have that. Well, this is special offers though. Bundles. Yeah, certification, practice test. Oh, that's the programmer. Certification, practice test, courseware. For 390. Again, like, maybe I just jump to the professional level and say, hey, you know what, let me take this professional. Get 60 days, and I get the top tier, right? I mean, like, that's like, what? It's like 260 plus the 130. So you get the courseware for free. This one's literally just the practice test. I don't know. I'll think out in some more. But today, I'm just gonna focus on, like, trying to knock out these, YouTube videos. So I like this. I'm just gonna export this out. I'm gonna go back to my projects. This is the video I'm trying to work on. I just really need to just cut it down. Because it's just a really long video. Alright. Hey everyone, this is Robin with Heroes Legends Studios. If you don't know already, I'm working with Blind Cat Studios on developing Koitsugi Legend of the Water Guardians. You can wishlist it on Steam today. And right now, I'm developing a physics-based nice effect of us. Oops, my bad. If you don't know already, I'm gonna just pop this right there like that. All those steps. All the code available. A physics-based controller here, and I'm gonna show you how I do it, and I'm gonna provide all the code available to you, and you can use it however you want. I think this provides a great way for how to simulate the player being able to, like, push this lily stem, how to interact with it in somewhat a simple way. And overall, it is there are quite a few steps, but it creates this little nice effect of us being able to interact with these lilies. If you see here, we're going to see these lilies. If I can select it, I'm just going to select all, right click, select children, and we're going to be rigging these lilies. And it's a little sloppy right now, but you get the gist. The rigging this lily with a skeleton, a lot of bones here, so that we can interact with. We're going to be adding hinge joints, and this code is going to be adding all these hinge joints, all these components to make it easier, so you're not doing one at a time, so that you can focus on like adding, painting the weights of these whatever you may use, but this for our example, these lilies, and interact with them so that you can focus more on getting a more realistic look from physics without having to add so many components one at a time to maybe 30 bones here. So uh, manually, you're going to have to go to all these components, or sorry, to all these textures, these lily textures, or whatever you may use for a similar effect. Add these bones, paint the weights, create the geometry in the sprite editor, and then I'm going to provide and go over all these scripts that on the root, there's going to be a little inspector component here that's going to be able to editor and textures or whatever you may use for a similar effect. Add these bones, paint the weights, create the geometry in the sprite editor, and then I'm going to provide and go over. What I'll do is try to shorten this up to a Hey everyone, this is Robin with Heroes Legends Studios. If you don't know already, I'm working with Blind Cat Studios on developing Koitsugi Legend of the Water Guardians. You can wishlist it on Steam today. The Legend of the Water Guardians. You can wishlist it on Steam today. And right now, I'm developing a physics-based um, controller here, and I'm gonna show you how I do it, and I'm gonna provide all the code available to you, and you can use it however you want. Um, I think this provides a great way for how to simulate the player being able to like push this lily stem, how to interact with it in somewhat a simple way. And overall, it is there are quite a few steps, but use it however you want. Um, I think this provides a great way for how to simulate the player being able to like push this. And I'm going to provide all the code available to you, and you can use it however you want. Um, I think this provides a great way for how to simulate the player being able to like push this lily stem, how to interact with it. Show you how I do it, and I'm going to provide all the code available to you, and you can use it however you want. Um, I think this provides a great way for how to simulate the player being able to like push this lily stem, how to interact with it in somewhat a simple way. And overall, it is there are quite a few steps, but it creates this little nice effect of us being able to interact with these lilies. If you see here, we're going to see these lilies. If I can select it, I'm just going to select all, right click, select children, and we're going to be rigging these lilies. And it's a little sloppy right now, but you get the gist. The rigging this lily with a skeleton, a lot of bones here, so that we can interact with. We're going to be adding hinge joints, and this code is going to be adding all these hinge joints, all these components to make it easier, so you're not doing one at a time, so that you can focus on like adding, painting the weights of these whatever you may use, but this for our example, these lilies, and interact with them so that you can focus more on getting more realistic look from physics without having to add so many components one at a time to maybe 30 bones here. So uh, manually, you're going to have to go to all these components, or sorry, to all these textures, these lily textures, or whatever you may use for a similar effect. Add these bones, paint the weights, create the geometry in the sprite editor, and then I'm going to provide and go over all these scripts that on the root, there's going to be a little inspector component here that's going to be able to generate all these components, the box colliders, the hinges, the rigid bodies, and a few other things that you're going to be able to manipulate. And I'm going to be open to feedback for improvements. And so if you have feedback, please check it out. Provide those feedback and let me know what you think would be a good improvement, and overall, like what to do, because improving this little editor script is going to help our game out, Koitsugi, and hopefully you can get something from this as well. here you're going to see exactly everything. I'm just going to make it like one line. Maybe I should make it left align. Maybe that's what I don't like. Let's see. Maybe right aligned. Put that in a little bit. Yeah, I like that a little bit more. Same things, pop you over here, and let's right align, bring you in a little bit. Exactly. And yeah, this is like a long video too. Little effect here of being able to like interact. Maybe you'll be able to manipulate or update the scripts however you want to for your game needs. But overall, basically what's happening is providing hinge joints along this entire bone structure for it to animate and wave back and forth as the player interacts with it, and reversing the gravity so that it pulls up towards the surface of the water like if it's floating, and to get this kind of wavy effect, right? So we're going to kind of go over all those steps, right? So first thing is that I'm going to select my prefab here on the sprite editor. I'm going to select here. If you're on your project folder, this will kind of jump you to the asset that is needed. And for our lilies, we put them all into one texture. So this allows us to keep a smaller file size, right? And keep things a little bit more organized. So I'm just going to go over to the inspector. I'm going to select this asset, not the individual textures, right, or sprites. And if you want to do the same thing, you can always select the sprite mode should be multiple, mesh types tight. All these settings are going to be custom to your game, so hopefully you have those all dialed in before you start doing this. Okay, so just go ahead and open up the sprite editor. And just make this full screen. So you're going to see here all the individual sprites. So we've already set this up. If you don't know how to do this, there are tutorials online. And multiple mesh types tight. All these settings are going to be custom to your game, so hopefully you have those all dialed in before you start doing this. Okay, so just go ahead and open up the sprite editor and just make this full screen. So you're going to see here all the individual sprites. So we've already set this up. If you don't know how to do this, there are tutorials online. I'm going to skip this part about setting these colliders up and such. We're just going to jump ahead to seeing that these individual cutouts, right, of these lilies, they're named specifically. So I've already set up 1 and 2, and we're going to go ahead and set up 0 here. Okay. So I'm going to go to this drop-down menu here and click Skinning Editor. This is how you're going to be able to paint weights, create skeletons. Using bones and whatnot. So you can see that these two intricate details of how to use the editor and whatnot. Using bones and whatnot. So you can see that these two have bones. They have the geometry is much more. You can see these vertices here. And you can see this one has a little more. And so you can see this one's a little bit more minimal, but I actually want to be able to increase that. So I'm going to go down to geometry and auto geometry. I'm going to increase this. This should be the same as all of them. So I'm just going to hit generate for selected. I want that subdivide to be 100. I want it to be a little bit more so that we can actually like see and the weights and the texture actually move. Along with it. So let's go ahead and create these bones. So I'm going to start from and this one's a little bit more minimal, but I actually want to be. And I'm going to bring this back here. Be able to increase that. So I'm going to go down to geometry and auto geometry. All right, I'm going to crop this here like this. Enter. I'm gonna increase that size a little bit. Crop it again. Don't need to see the time. There you go. I'm going to increase this. This should be the same as all of them. So I'm just going to hit generate for selected. I want that subdivide to be 100. I want it to be a little bit more so that we can actually like see and the weights and the texture actually move along with it. So let's go ahead and create these bones. So I'm going to start from the bottom. Okay, so now that's gone. So let's just zoom in here. Video editing, guys, it's a job in itself. Okay. I'm going to increase this. This should be the same as all of them. So I'm just going to hit generate for selected. I want that subdivide to be 100. I want it to be a little bit more so that we can actually like see and the weights and the texture actually move along with it. So let's go ahead. Okay, right there. That's. I'm going to delete this. Have this fade out. The weights and the texture actually move along with it. So let's go ahead and create these bones. So I'm going to start from the bottom. If you just click create bone, you can left click down at the bottom. And I'm going to make small bones so that we generate, so when we paint the texture to those bones, we can see more flexible movement in the texture. If you're not familiar with painting weights, creating bones, and how like that affects things, I'm not really going to go over that. This is just really a quick example of how to like, for my level designer, blind cat, this is just to show how, hey, this is how you do it, so we can use this script again and again. And for anyone who wants to use the script, this is how to use it. Just that's all this video is really going to be about, is how to, not really explaining all the intricate details of how to use the editor and whatnot. So if you do have questions about it, feel free to ask, but I am going to go further into this about just doing it, going through these steps and explaining like what's happening. But and so if you don't know If it doesn't make sense, feel free to ask, or there might be other tutorials that can better explain it. So I'm going to get to this top here. I'm just going to make some simple bones. You right click to end it. I'm going to go back and click on this one here. Here, left click, left click, left click, right? Right click. So that's going to be, and so as you paint these weights, I'm just going to hit auto weights, right? That's going to generate the weights, and you can start seeing like it gets color coordinated, right? So all these little areas are going to be affected by those bones moving. When you add the hinge joints, those start rotating a little bit at a time, and you can um, start seeing it manipulate the mesh of the texture. So right now, that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to keep everything real generic. If we want to fine tune it, you can forever, however you want. The big part about this is what the scripts do next, right? So this, fine tune this however you want, paint the weights however you want. If you want them to, you can always preview um, the mesh here, right? You can kind of rotate, see how the mesh actually manipulates. Make sure you always hit apply at the end, right? And we're gonna go ahead and close this for editor. Okay, so that's gonna be 0, right? So what I'm gonna do is drag over 0 now into the hierarchy, and that's gonna create this sprite. Doesn't really have much for us, like where are the bones? So you have to add this new component called sprite skin. And on here, again, there's nothing associated here. So what we want to do is create bones. And this is going to give you the root bone. And like, here's 21 bones that I generated, right? So that's a lot of bones to be adding hinge joints to, rigid bodies to, one at a time. And then being able to like change those a lot, it just seems like a big hassle to me. So that's why I'm generating these scripts to do a lot of this stuff for me. And they're real basic scripts for me. And I was just kind of trying to figure out like, okay, what do we do? What do we need to do to make this a little bit, this process a little bit simpler, right? So the first script we're going to go over is the editor script. This is going to be the generator script is called I am gonna zoom in here to get here, cut, and then zoom in here. This guy. I think what I need to start doing is cropping this. Let me see. Scale this back here, like this here. Crop. And then this is where actually I should be duplicating again. So duplicate that. Zoom out. Overlap this. So this is like, for me, like an easy way to line things up. And I'll cut it again. So let's see. So here. So this one, this is the one I'm going to crop. Right there. Like that. And then we're going to zoom in a bit. And then I think this is where, we can add like a blur here. go ahead and close this for editor. Okay, so that's going to be 0, right? So what I want to do is drag over 0 now into the hierarchy, and that's going to create this sprite. Doesn't really have much for us, like where are the bones? So you have to add this new component called sprite skin. And on here, again, there's nothing associated here. So what we want to do is create bones. And this is going to give you the root bone. And like, here's 21 bones that I generated, right? So that's a lot of bones to be adding hinge joints to, rigid bodies to, one at a time. And then being able to like change those a lot, it just seems like a big hassle to me. So that's why I'm generating these scripts to do a lot of this stuff for me. And they're real basic scripts for me. And I was just kind of trying to figure out like, okay, what do we do? What do we need to do to make this a little bit, this process a little bit simpler, right? So the first script we're going to go over is the editor script. This is going to be the generator script is called Lily Stem Physics Generator. There's going to be a few components here. Being able to create the box collider size. Again, once you generate it, you're going to be able to remove those components, change those settings, generate them again, right? You're going to want to put this on your root bone, not your parent object, okay? Right, that is a prereq there, because our root bone should not move, right? We don't want our root bone to move. By default, and maybe that's something I add, the physics generator, because it's for our Lily stems, it will reverse gravity. Gravity will be -1. A few other things here are like the box colliders, how size. So for our lilies, and typically for our bones, they're about 0.8 long, and then y of 0.2. This makes like a skinny collider going up, just like the other ones. The hinge joint, or sorry, the hinge limits, right? We want to use limits. I do recommend using limits, as they can give better sway back and forth, so they don't like circle each other. I am going to make like -15 and 15. That gives us more sway and resistance. And we're going to hit generate, right? So we're going to take a look at this script. And this is going to generate, right? So we're going to take a look at this script. And this is going to, in all the children, so we're going to right click, hit select children. You can see there would have been nothing here. And we can also see, like, we go remove all components. You can see everything's gone. Oh, the other thing. This is just for our game. Sorting later, I'm going to put to player ground. Okay. You see it there. But you can see in the bones, there's no components here. But what components is it going to generate, right? And this is going to be something custom for our stem lily, but this is how, we're doing it. It's going to add a box collider. That box collider, you can see those sizes here. You can kind of see that they overlap. Maybe 0.8 wasn't the right size. Maybe it needs to be like 0.5 or something. And of course, you can always do like select all and then hit 0.6, 0.5. You can see now here everything's rotated. Or sorry, everything is like shown here. Everything's pretty close. You can see how some bones overlap here, right? And whether or not we want to have like an offset here. And actually, there probably should be some kind of offset. Like going to, oops, that's the wrong one. And so you can just select everything and everything's going to change by itself. But felt like having like if you already know those settings, why like just hit that generate button, right? So that looks good. That's the box collider. It's going to add a rigid body. Like I said, it's adding the gravity scales -1. You can change the mass and kind of mess around with effects. Again, manipulate the scripts however you want to see best fit, or I'll make updates as needed. You can see the hinge joint gets added here as well, and it's going to add those rigid bodies as needed, right? So it's always going to get the previous one and connect it. So because it needs to know what rigid body it's connected to. You'll also see there's two. Again, see everything's gone. Oh, the other thing. This is just for our game. Um, so when the player moves through these trigger boxes, because the box glider is also going to be a trigger, right? As you pass through, it's going to push that bone to select everything, and everything's going to change by itself. So when the player moves through these trigger boxes, because the box glider is also going to be a trigger, right? As you pass through, it's going to push that bone in one direction, and because it's connected to other bones, it's going to pull those. I want to zoom in somewhere here again. Right click, hit select children. You can see there would have been nothing here. And we can also see, like, we go remove all components. You can see everything's gone. Oh, the other thing. This is just for our game. Sorting later, I'm going to put to player ground. Okay, you see it there. But you can see in the bones, there's no components here. But what components is it going to generate, right? And this is going to be something custom for our stem Lily, but this is how we're doing it. It's going to add a box collider. That box collider, you can see those sizes here. You can kind of see that they overlap. Maybe 0.8 wasn't the right size. Maybe getting a bunch of calls today. Don't know why. You know what? Forget I should do this too. So crop it up as well to like right there. There we go. Let me move this over. Move this over here. And let's go ahead and hit play, and we're going to be able to see it move. Then we'll go over the scripts. So that's all you need to do. You can kind of see like that gets wild. I think it did hit something. There are additional values that we can manipulate. You can see here. That's all you need. So I'm just going to drop this over to my projects inside my prefabs, generate prefab. Next is this trigger event. This is a little bit when you actually when the object is created. I'm going to show you like there's an on awake function that will add an action here. It doesn't appear, but it does work. So if someone knows what's going on with that or can tell me, um, maybe I'm adding it wrong. I mean, it works. It just doesn't appear here in the inspector because it happens on awake. But that is because it needs to have a reference to the game object, and you can do that manually, or you can do it on awake when the game starts running. So, um, if you have a bunch of these, I haven't done any like tests, performance testing, but it shouldn't cause too much problems. Shouldn't cause any problems really. So, but that could be like a performance enhancement, trying to figure out how to generate these colliders references before without having to like run it on start or on awake. All right. So that's the whole point of it, is that you create these bones, you add this one script, this generator script, you hit generate, you add some pieces to this, and again, we can make sure that we keep those values here. You just hit generate, boom, and then you move on to the next stem, right? And then once you fine tune these values for one prefab, you can start translating them to other like art pieces, right? Because you're not going to have just one texture, right? So cool. So I'm just going to drop this over to my projects inside my prefabs, generate prefab, right? It's always good to have prefabs. Ideally, that's all you need. We can see, let me move this over. Move this over here. And let's go ahead and hit play, and we're going to be able to see it move. Then we'll go over the scripts. It happens on awake, but that is because it needs to have a reference to the game object. Once you fine tune these values for one prefab, you can start translating them to other like art pieces, right? Because you're not going to have just one texture, right? So cool. So I'm just going to drop this over to my projects inside my prefabs. Generate prefab, right? It's always good to have prefabs. Ideally, that's all you need. We can see, let me move this over. Move this over here. And let's go ahead and hit play, and we're going to be able to see it move. Then we'll go over the scripts. So that's all you need to do. You can kind of see like that gets wild. I think it did hit something. There are additional values that we can manipulate. You can see here. That's all you need to do, and everything works. So if you're just going to use the scripts just how we are, you're going to fine tune everything you need. This is, you can like stop here and move on with your day. But I'm going to go over all the scripts and what they do, and we'll fine tune these at a later time. All right. So first up is the actual generator script. These are all these are all AI generated code comments and summaries for the most part. So if there's things that don't sound right, just let me know. I'll update them. So here we have this physics generator. This is the script that is going to add all the components, right? And you'll be able to update options here for what you need. So you can see here's the box collider. They're all serialized fields, all private. So use hinge limits on hinge lower limit and upper limit. So other things that I can make public or more customizable would be like having the rigid body scale. You can set that to be negative or positive or whatever you may want. Maybe I'll make future improvements, but I was just trying to make this kind of quick. So it's going to add these components: box collider, rigid body, hinge joint. Again, you need a rigid body and box collider for these scripts. You need a rigid body for the hinge joint and whatnot. So on Awake, like I said, there was an issue with updating the event listeners with the generate button. Okay, it was not working. Don't know why. It should have been working. It was not getting the reference to the objects, even though it should have been. And so it's most likely like a runtime error. So I have to put it on Awake. So when you put this object in the hierarchy, it's going to generate, or it's going to add all these listeners, but they don't appear in the inspector. Not fun, right? So again, that's just, it works. You can see it work. The listeners are there, they're just not visible for some reason. So if anyone knows how to make those visible,
Yeah, I'm working on this YouTube video.
I'm thinking about just making it private so we don't even see it. But just exposing it now just so I know, and anyone who sees this kind of knows what's going on.
Yeah, I think
so on Awake,
this is going over the Lily script that I made.
This trigger event script is just a generic script that I've made. Our game
so that it's
is
just so you know how to use it, and so I'm also putting on GitHub so other people can use it. So, Pichu, how's it going? Welcome from the YouTube side.
So
I haven't seen you in a while. What's going on?
A trigger event class.
So yeah, I'm making this YouTube video. I'll post it today. The plan is to finish this, post it today, and then jump to my next video, which is going to be talking about my experience with
XYZ to happen on
the Unity certification for the user level.
Exit, on trigger, stay, right? And so right now I kind of force only
trying to improve this video here. Just
so
some video
that's
editing.
definitely an improvement that I need to
welcome in Blanket
to allow.
Right now, like it's a long ass video, and I know I get real wordy sometimes in my videos. There'll be times where like I record like a 40-minute video and I try to chop it down and it still ends up being like 25 minutes. This video is like 35 minutes, 33 minutes, and I'm trying to trim it down a little bit. So like the first, I think 17 minutes is all people are going to care about, and then the rest of it is just me going over the code.
The collider is a trigger, and on trigger enter, it's going to invoke all those Unity events, all those Oh yeah. Okay, did you I'll check it out in just a second. Pichu.
And that's what it is doing in the generator.
Can you tell?
It's adding the listeners to
I'm not sure who
the
that is.
trigger
Maj?
points.
Yeah, you can tell people, like, tell them I'm live.
So, and it only adds it to the enter. Right?
Tell
This
them to
is a real
subscribe,
simple script.
follow
If
me
you
on
want
Twitch,
ideas for more stuff to do,
subscribe on YouTube.
yeah.
So
But it takes the
I gotta
collide
figure out
of
how to
this
get the
object
YouTube chat to show up
and
on my stream
applies
too.
it
I think it's an
to
issue with
the
Stream
applied
Elements
force
Live.
interaction. Right?
I don't know
If
how
you don't
people
know,
do it.
this
I've
is
asked and no one's
what it's
answered me
doing.
about how to
Basically,
get YouTube
we're gonna
chat.
hit enter.
Oh,
Sorry,
Majesty.
add
Oh yeah. I
force.
was like, who's that?
We're going to add
Yeah.
this bone, and we're gonna go look for apply
Yeah,
force interaction.
yeah. I try to post
Apply
it
force.
whenever I
So on
can
trigger
in all the
enter,
Discords.
when that function is
But
called, it's going
yeah,
to invoke
I think I'm trying to get.
force indirection.
I haven't looked in a long time, but
right, which is here.
showing like
If you're not familiar with
whatever it's called, YouTube chat and
tutorial on that. That's going to be a lot simpler
and
than
Twitch
what we're
chat
doing here.
together on stream.
But this is really meant for Blind Cat and anyone who else wants to like jump into this kind of advanced, simple Lily physics generator thing. I need to make a video.
But yeah, Blind Cat for the interns. That's a lot, and I just saw it for 15 weeks.
So
that's
this,
really good.
Apply force indirection is another script. It will.
I'm down to help out with that for sure.
You can use these scripts anyway, right?
Really kind of just put on like a production manager hat and start like listing out the needs and requirements for the team. Especially if we get like programming interns too. Yeah, kind of just going to Jira saying, hey, like all of you need access to Jira. Who needs access to the project? You know, maybe keeping them out of the project if they don't need to be in the project for now. For the artists, at least. Programmers, they're gonna need access, right?
To use the compass directions and
yeah, I mean, if it's gonna be like, obviously, like our interns that we've had in the past have been, you know, I would say like we didn't really take it in a professional manner, you know, kind of like, hey, do what you can when you can. But if these guys are coming in and say, hey,
I'll make sure I provide that.
I need to clock 10 hours a week for 15 weeks, then yeah.
Because you're going to want that.
Okay.
So, anyways, but we don't use it for the generator.
Yeah.
But
okay.
So you have it.
Okay. Then, when are we getting them? Or when's the programmer coming in first, and then when are the artists coming in?
And it's going to say, hey, our force direction is going to be.
I can start that, you know,
so that's the direction.
Probably tomorrow. Start putting all that stuff together.
Function, which is if it's using the apply force direction, or sorry, the compass direction, then it's going to apply that direction that you want to the force of to this rigid body, right?
Okay. Yeah, just let me know. And yeah, if we can get interns, I mean, if they're like actually dedicating 10 hours a week on our game, we're going to see so many improvements and so many changes. And we're like, maybe I don't have to code, right? And they're doing like, you know, again, like our systems are up to date. The state machine, and hopefully they're able to like understand it. Like I still haven't put any documentation together for that, so that will be something maybe I do. I don't know. I'll at least like walk them through it so that they understand. Hopefully it makes sense. But give you an ad. I mean, you gotta know C# and some fundamental skills. Oh, you just posted the requirements? Okay. Okay. I mean, I can work with anybody. And if they're just like learning, cool. They can give their feedback and insight. and that's fine. Like I didn't go to school for programming, right? Like I don't know shit about shit. So everything I know about programming is just what I've learned on the job. Oh, okay. Hold on. Let's take a look. Like 15 weeks is a long time too. I mean, that's like pretty much all the way to the end of the year, right? What's funny is taking that certification. I didn't agree with it, but um, they're like having this user certification for Unity. It is shows that you have 150 hours in Unity, and I was like, nah, it's not that. It's more like 50 hours, I think. So they have to do at least 10 hours. I mean, I don't know how we're gonna track that, but I'll think about it. I'm assuming you're gonna be the supervisor. So we have to complete a midterm and final evaluation. I could send you what I had before, right? What we sent to the other interns. Shit's the same, I guess. Oh, okay, I see. Okay, okay. Oh, yeah, I passed. I passed. I actually did better in the official exam than I did the practice test. I got like 89%, where in the practice test I did like 85. Oh, wait, I see you. Be right back. Hold on. Okay, I'll be right back too. I'm gonna run an ad. Be right back. I wish I could just run the ad from inside OBS, but I get it. I get it. There's an ad coming up in like 2 minutes anyway, so I'm just gonna run an ad real quick. Cause I'm gonna run to the bathroom. Turn off my webcam. too, just in case the kids run in here. Excuse me. I think there's still an ad running on Twitch, but actually, I think it might have run double ads. Again. Anyway, so I'm gonna go back. But yeah. Let me check out my YouTube friends. How my YouTube friends doing? Pichu, how are you? Oops. Thanks for jumping in on the YouTube side. I'm trying to get more watch hours on YouTube, and that's why I'm trying to post more videos, because just don't get enough. Trying to get monetized, but I just don't do enough YouTube stuff. So I'm gonna bring this up so I can hear it.
So here we have this physics generator. This
kind of
is
finish up this
script that is going to add all the components, and you'll be able to update options here for what you need. So you can see here's the box collider. They're all serialized fields, all private. So use hinge limits on hinge lower limit and upper limit. So other things that I can make public or more customizable would be like having the rigid body scale. You can set that to be negative or positive or whatever you may want. Maybe I'll make future improvements, but I was just trying to make this kind of quick. So it's going to add these components: box collider, rigid body, hinge joint. Again, you need a rigid body and box collider for these scripts. You need a rigid body for the hinge joint and whatnot. So So on Awake, like I said, there was an issue with updating the event listeners with the generate button. Okay, it was not working. Don't know why. It should have been working. It was not getting the reference to the objects, even though it should have been. And so it's most likely like a runtime error. So I have to put it on Awake. So when you put this object in the hierarchy, it's going to generate, or it's going to add all these listeners, but they don't appear in the inspector. Not fun, right? So again, that's just it works. You can see it work. The listeners are there. They're just not visible for some reason. So if anyone knows how to make those visible, or I'm thinking about just making it private so we don't even see it, but just exposing it now just so I know, and anyone who sees this kind of knows what's going on. Um, so on Awake, we're gonna get that trigger events script. This trigger event script is just a generic script that I've made. Our game is is very is going towards a Unity event driven approach and component driven approach. So I have a trigger event class that on this object, if anything happens, you can go in here and you would be able to just add events. Say, you know what, I want XYZ to happen on trigger enter, on trigger exit, on trigger stay, right? And so right now I kind of force only the one listener to occur. So that's definitely an improvement that I need to come back to allow such things as the exit and stay. So you can just add your own events to as you need, right? And maybe even adding that on the generate button. It's like I want these events to occur one at a time, but um, that's just part of making the script a little bit better and whatnot. So that's all this does is that it takes the collider is a trigger, and on trigger enter, it's going to hit invoke all those Unity events, all those actions. Um, and that's what it is doing in the generator, right? It's adding the listeners to the trigger events. So, and it only adds it to the enter, right? This is a real simple script. People have ideas for more stuff to do. We can add. But it takes the collider of this object and applies it to the apply force in direction object, right? So if you don't know, this is what it's doing. Basically, we're gonna hit enter, or sorry, add this. We're going to add this bone, and we're gonna go look for apply force in direction, apply force. So on trigger enter, when that function is called, it's going to invoke apply force in direction, apply force function, right? Which is here. If you're not familiar with Unity events, I'll probably make another tutorial on that. That's going to be a lot simpler than what I'm doing here. But this is really meant for Blind Cat and anyone who else wants to like jump into this kind of advanced, simple, really
But I
physics
said advanced simple.
I need to make a video, and I'm making it now. So cool beans. Hope you all enjoy it. Um, so this apply force in direction is another script. It will you can manually so you can use this, and you can use these scripts anywhere, right? You don't have to use it with the physics generator, right? The physics generator is just dependent on these things. The apply force in direction, you can use it to use the compass direction. Um, and like a little side note, like we do use everything is in the blind cat namespace. You don't have to use that namespace. You can just copy the code and put it wherever, right? That's fine. I don't care. I don't think Blind Cat cares. We'll see. Um, but you can force that to use the compass directions, and actually, I don't. The compass direction does come from our movement class. Okay, so I need to provide that to you all because I did not provide it. So I'll make sure I provide that in when I upload this video.
And I did provide that.
So this apply force in direction is another script. Is a compass direction. Um, you can force that to use the compass directions, and actually, I don't. The compass direction does come from our movement class. Okay, so I need to provide that to you all because I did not provide it. So I'll make sure I provide that in when I upload this video. Because you're gonna want that. So, anyways, but we don't use it for the physics generator, just so you have it because it's a requirement here. So what happens is we're looking for that apply force function. And it's going to say, hey, our force direction is going to be our position minus our collision. So that's the direction of the force. And we're going to call that apply force function, which is if it's using the apply force direction, or sorry, the compass direction, then it's going to apply that direction that you want to the force of to this rigid body, right? Otherwise, it's going to normalize that force direction provided. So, player is going left to right, it's going to push to the right. If it's right to left, it's going to push to the left. Okay? Simple as that. There's a decent amount of code here, so you're able to manipulate that force in the code, but it is not part of the generation component, generation properties. So again, I might change that in the future. So if things change, I'll make comments in the README in the change log. So um, next up is the remove all components. This just removes everything. So say like you created everything and you're like, well, I didn't like that. I think everything needs to be like I did with the box colliders. The box colliders came out a little bit too tall.
My
So
bad,
I'm
my
going to
bad.
just remove all those components. So it removes all the components from the children objects. And you're able to go back and change your properties and then generate those again. Cool, right? And let me know if you guys have any questions about this trigger event or using Unity events or Unity actions, because I think this is a useful way to really generate components and just call actions as you need. You can remove those actions. Say, I'll make more tutorials about how Blind Cat and I have been developing the Koitsugi game and how I spent like the last 9 months refactoring all our code to generate a new system, a new component system using Unity events. All right, so another cool thing, I've been using a lot of AI Copilot to generate and kind of help me out with like learning some new editor stuff, GUI stuff, right? And I'll make another tutorial about how I use AI and Copilot to develop this game and how it's been really helpful lately, right? So here, so this is not in so any editor stuff cannot be in a namespace. Just learn that. So it stands outside any namespace because it comes from the editor. I am bringing in Blind Cat Studios generators namespace, which is for our physics generator. Here we can have our I just call Lily STEM physics editor. You can name it whatever you want if you're going to modify it however you want. Okay, this is just like a base boilerplate scripts for you to kind of generate your own stuff, to kind of get inspired to do your own thing, and how creating your own generators might save some time in your like game development process. So uh, So on Inspector GUI, we're going to draw the default inspector. We're looking for a component that is the Lily STEM physics generator, right? And when that component exists on the inspector, we're going to go ahead and create buttons, right? This one's called generate components, and it's going to say, hey, that generator object, right? So we have to make these functions public, obviously, for our editor to use them, and they're gonna do the. Okay, shoot, sorry. I'm using Clipchamp, and it has a 30-minute. Minute like cap on recording. Um, I think that's just because memory issues. So I'm gonna try to go back to where I left off, talking about the actually editor script. Um, I'll find, I've been using AI or Copilot to generate and help out with code. So it actually generated this for me because I was like, hey, like, how do I add buttons to generate code and add components, things, and it like did a few different things for me. But I'm gonna go into that in some other video about how I use AI and Copilot to help me learn and kind of start improving my coding process in Unity. Anyways, so we've got this on inspector GUI. Uh, this is part of the custom editor type of Lily STEM physics generator, and that's what it's looking for. That's looking for that component. So on the inspector GUI, if we're if the inspector GUI is on this component physics generator, we're going to go ahead and draw some buttons, right? It's going to lay out this button called generate components, and it's going to say that generator, generate components on children, and remove all components. Right. Take a quick look. These are public functions. So if you want to be able to access these functions from the editor, they have to be public, right? So that's a really cool thing. I don't really mess with the editor too much. I don't make my own tools, and maybe I'm going to start jumping into that. But I think that's it. If you guys have any questions, I kind of went through everything really quick. Again, this whole video is just for me to uh, tell Blind Cat and anyone else who wants to use these scripts how to set up real quickly. This is definitely an advanced video. If you want to customize it for your own use, the scripts are there for you and available. If you have questions or have suggestions about updating or want to use it for your own game and don't know how to update it, want to make some changes, reach out, let me know. Comment on my YouTube, follow my social media. Again, guys, I'm trying to become an independent game developer, software developer. So support me. You can follow my channel, subscribe to my YouTube, follow me on Twitch, follow my Instagram. My website should be in all the bio links and should be on this video. So if you're looking for help on game
I'm gonna try to
development,
make an
software
outro video
development,
to kind of like
for
promote
mobile
my stuff too.
application
So
and in video
next
games,
time.
right? Reach out, let me know. I'm just trying to make some money here and there to support my indie software and game development. So thanks everyone for watching it. If you made it this long, I appreciate it. And I'll catch you next time. Thanks.
So I'm gonna go back to where, try to trim this a little bit.
It stands outside any namespace because it comes from the Copilot to develop the system, a new component system.
You can hear the kids in the back.
Unity events. All right. So another cool thing, I've been using a lot of AI, a new component system using Unity events.
So I'm gonna cut it right there, and delete, trim that. Add transitions next, and then I'm gonna publish the video. But first I need to duplicate this, add that over here. Nice. We're just having a ruckus, huh? Had to settle them down. Difficulty. I think I spelled that right. Me, whatever.
Sorry, I'm using Clipchamp and
But yeah, I don't know if you're back, but I don't know if you left, but yeah, I did pass the test. I passed the exam. Got like 89%. So I think that's good. Passing. Thank you. The course that I bought did not prepare me for the test. The test was harder than the practice test. I'm glad I did better on the real test, but the real exam was harder than the practice test. I had 2 practice tests. I only took one. I didn't really care to take the other one. I thought about it, but whatever. There was a lot of more plug and play on the tests, and I'm gonna go over this in my other video. It starts after I publish this one, of my experience with it. But yeah, I mean, it was good. The test was easy. It does say at the end of it, like when you have your certification, it's like, this shows that you have 150 hours of Unity experience. Some foundational things, kind of like the internship, I guess. It's saying like you have 150 hours of experience, and I think if you lock in 50 hours of Unity, learning like a lot of different things about Unity, that's all you need to do to like pass this test. The test was very easy. Even if I didn't get 100%, I still think it was very easy. There were some questions that tripped me up for sure, but it was just like stuff I didn't know. Like I still try to like learn some of the animation stuff or the animator stuff, and I'm like I don't know if that's a thing. So the animator stuff is still stuff that I'm learning that I know I got wrong on that test. There were a couple times that I did guess on answers. I did give feedback on one question that I thought totally did not make sense to me, and it was a coding question, and I'm like, this makes no sense at all. So I left feedback on that. I know this exam was updated last year, but so it's fairly new. But overall, it was a very good exam. Very, very thorough. Um, a lot of like you had to do drop downs to like complete code segments and drag and drop code. A couple of those I kind of weren't clear on. A couple of those were like a little bit confusing. And then if you take the exam, it doesn't tell you what you got right or wrong. It just gives you results. So I'm not sure what I got wrong. But it is what it is. Can I? Yeah, this was the programmer. Um, so it is considered like internship level. I think that's kind of how they classify it. That you have 150 hours in Unity. I do not think that course, if you have never had any experience in Unity and you took their course, you would fail that test. I'm like almost guaranteed. Like you don't get the course, go through like Unity Learn, go through their whole beginner course. That's probably going to be better for you. Um, I don't know. I haven't gone through all of the Unity course, and this is the one I'm talking about here. Let me see if I have it open. Yeah, this Essentials. No, is it this one? So this is probably the one. I think. So I think if you go through this one and some of the junior programmer, that's going to be enough to pass this test. I think for the next level, which is the associate certification, they recommend that you go through this program, this pathway. And if you go through this pathway, then that's gonna be enough. No, I think it was like, so in the course, they go over they teach you like a lot of basic coding stuff, right? And some of the APIs, Unity APIs, like instantiation, destroying, like audio stuff, animation playing, very, very basic stuff. But there's questions about actual coding fundamentals, creating lists, creating dictionaries, understanding arrays, and that the course does not go over, right? The course does not go over any coding standards. The only thing it went over was like what's private, what's public mean, and some uh, styling formatting, right? It's like, hey, what's Pascal formatting? What's camel casing and things like that. The coding questions, it does not prepare you for the coding questions, I think. Um, because it'll be like, especially with the APIs, I mean, kind of the API stuff. It's like, if you create this public function, how would you write it? It's like, okay, void, um, this is my function, pass in this parameter. So it's very basic coding stuff, but I didn't feel like the course really went over all that stuff. And I passed because I already know I've been programming for so long. And so I've been wanting to, I want to finish this one, which is the one I'm currently on. I'm almost done. Go through the junior programmer. I'll probably still take the associate test before this, but I forget how expensive the associate level and the professional level exams are. So I'm like, do I want to chance it and fail that test? But this is the one which I haven't gone to the programming part yet. And maybe this is enough, right? I don't think it is going to be, but yeah, the professional one, because they have the professional. Where'd it go? Just look it up. I was like looking at their bundles. It's expensive. Yeah, the professional, there's only the programmer and artist. But I know in here the associate, there's the associate game developer one. I don't know what's needed. I felt like the user level was super easy. The associate level, it also says like that you have to have experience like finishing projects. Like you have 3 projects completed under your belt. Or like the professional level, it says like you have years of experience in the industry. And I'm like, well, I don't know. What does that mean? But it also says like you have to understand like coding architectures and things like that. And so we'll see. Like maybe I was thinking about just jumping to the professional level because they have this bundle which comes with a practice test. And so you get 6 months for this to use this practice test. No, sorry, not 6 months. 60 days. You get 60 days. And I'm like, could I just run through this practice test, see how well I do, learn what I'm missing, and then go take the certification, skip the associate? Maybe. But because if they had this one, this kind of bundle here, I would take that in the next couple weeks. But they don't. And I'm like, this is the next bundle that may be, but I don't want to pay for the courseware, knowing that the courseware is probably not good enough. Because I'm pretty much paying this price anyways. If I just buy the practice tests, like 110. But anyways, this pathway, yeah, I'm only like 37% complete, which that's not right. Done on that one. Because I have 2 different ones. Hold on. I forget. Because there is in editor. So the one I'm doing is in editor. So Mission 3. Unity Essentials in editor. Is this the same? Why does it show green here? Pretty sure. Sweet. So I think I'm on audio now. And then goes the programming. But this might be all you need. So the pathways, let me see if I can find it again. It does not have it here. So there's a Unity Essentials pathway, but then there's a Unity Essentials in Editor pathway, which is what I'm doing. And I didn't realize they were two separate things, and they're tracked separately. Which is why I have two different badges here. This is the Mission 1 in Editor, and this is Mission 1 in Editor, or Mission 1. And then this one, yeah, Mission 2. Okay, so I did finish that one. I don't know why it doesn't show that. So I'll come back to this. But yeah, okay. Let me finish this video. Snooze that ad. I think I want to get that. Zoom in a little bit. Trying to. Let me see. Oops. Yeah, that's okay. Whatever. And I'm just gonna run through some of this stuff.
Hey everyone, this is Robin with Heroes Legends Studios. If you don't know already, I'm working with Blind Cat Studios on developing Koitsugi, Legend of the Water Guardians.
Right.
You can wishlist it on Steam today. And
okay.
How to simulate the player being able to like push this lily stem, how to interact with it in somewhat a simple way. And overall, it is these components, or sorry, to all these textures, these lily textures, or whatever you may use for a similar effect. Add these bones, paint the weights, create the geometry in the sprite editor, and then I'm going to provide and go over all these scripts that on the root, there's going to be a little inspector component here that's going to be able to generate all these components, the box colliders, the hinges, the rigid body, our game out, Koitsugi, and hopefully you can get something from this as well. But here you're going to see.
But yeah, I'm going to make that video next. I'm going to start talking about it more in depth about my experience with it.
Effect here of being able to like interact. Maybe you'll be able to manipulate.
I should write down everything, all my thoughts, so I don't get stuck with another 30-minute video.
But over, right, these lilies, they're named specifically. So I've already set up 1 and 2, and we're going to go ahead and set up 0 here. Okay. So I'm going to go to this drop-down menu here, click Skinning Editor. This is how you're going to be able to paint weights, create skeletons using bones, and whatnot. So you can see that these two have bones. They have the geometry is much more. You can see these vertices here. And I just 100 want it to be a little bit more. So I'm going to increase this. You can see this one's a little bit more minimal, but I actually want to be able to increase that. So I'm going to go down to geometry and auto geometry. I'm going to increase this.
Oh, it does. What the heck? Let's see.
This should be the same as all of them, so I'm just gonna hit generate for selected. I want that subdivide to be 100. I want it to be a little bit more so that we can actually like see, and the weights and the texture actually move. We make small bones so that we generate weights and the texture actually move um, along with it. So let's go ahead and create these bones. So I'm going to start from the bottom. If you just click create bone,
I got an ad coming up.
Down at the bottom, and I'm going to, and that's going to create this sprite. Doesn't really have much for us. Like, where are the bones? So you have to add this new component called sprite skin.
I'm gonna add a transition here. Don't need a transition there. I need a transition here. To the right. Down, one to the right. God dang it. To the right. How do I add the transition? What the heck? I hate that this is something. What I do? I don't know why it does this. It has trouble like adding a transition. Just want to add a transition. I wish it would just be something like I can. Our swipe, soft wipe right. Put that right there. Okay.
So you have to add this new component called sprite skin. And on here, again, there's nothing associated here. So what we want to bones. So you have to add this new component called sprite skin.
And it is weird because it doesn't like transition to this thing over here. And I don't think I can add a transition to this thing. Swipe. Because it's a transition, right? Yeah. And then we just fade this in, I guess.
We have much for us. Like, where are the bones? So you have to add this new component called sprite skin. And on here, again, there's nothing associated here. So what we want to do is create bones. And this is going to give you the root bone. 15. That gives us more sway and resistance. And we're going to hit generate, right? So we're going to take a look at this script. And this is going to
Fade this out. And we're going to add another. This one there.
and resistance. And we're going to hit generate, right? So we're going to take a look at this script.
And this one's going to fade in.
15. That gives us more sway and resistance. And we're going to hit generate, right? So we're going to take a look at this script. And this is going to, in all the children, so we can right click, hit select children. You can see there would have been more. You see it there. But you can see in the bones, there's no.
Yeah, I don't know if I can delete this.
But what?
Delete it. And then bring this down. And then just do that.
This is going to generate, right? And 15. That gives us more sway and resistance. And we're going to hit generate, right? So we're going to take a look at this script, and this is going to in all the children. So we're going to right click, hit select children, fine tune everything you need. This is, you can like stop here and move on with your day. But I'm going to go over all the scripts and what they do, and we'll fine tune these at a later time. These are all AI generated code comments and summaries for the most part. So if there's things, I need to provide that to you all. I'll make sure I provide that in when I upload this video, because you're going to want that. So anyways, but we don't use it for the physics generator, but just so you have it, because it's a requirement here. So what happens is we're looking for that apply force function. And it's going to say, hey, our force direction is going to be our position minus our collision. So that's the direction of the force. And we're going to call that being the Koitsugi game, and how, I spent like the last 9 months refactoring all our code to generate a new system, a new component system using Unity events. Factoring all our code to generate a new system, a new component system using Unity events. All right, so another cool way. I'm using ClickChat, and it has a 30-minute like cap on recording from the children objects, and you're able to go back and change your properties and then generate those again. We'll write tutorials about how Blind Cat and I have been developing the Koitsugi game, and how I spent like the last 9 months refactoring all our code to generate a new system, a new component system using Unity events. All right, so another cool.
I don't know why it's so quiet.
It has a 30-minute like cap on recording.
But I think I'm gonna have to trim this bit.
All our code to generate a new system, a new component system.
I'm gonna have to move this over here, like that, I think. Over. Same thing, get in here.
A new component system. I'm using ClickChat, and it has a 30-minute like cap on.
I wonder if there's a fade. Fade out.
Component system.
It's like really quiet, but I think that's okay. Let me see it. Swipe right. Swipe right.
A new component system using I'm using ClickChat, and it has a 30-minute like cap on recording. I think that's just because memory issues. So I'm gonna try to go back to where I left off, talking about the editor script. I'll find I've been using AI or Copilot to generate and help out with code.
I think this is pretty good. I'm good with it. I'm happy with it.
Generated this for me because I was like, hey, like, how do I add buttons?
If there's issues, whatever. I'm gonna go ahead and export this out 1080p. There's my new intro. Cool, right? It's probably gonna take a minute, so I'm gonna read Miss Stiff. Let me see. Not that. Okay, okay. All right, Dennis. Let me I'm gonna send you the old internship papers. I'm gonna take a look at them real quick, make sure they're okay. Make sure they're still whatever. Let me see. I think they're on my drive. I think I kept everything on my drive. Cool beans, so that's good. It's probably gonna take a while to upload to YouTube. Um, here, YouTube. Let me see. Mm, behind the scenes. Let me see where that's.
Nope. I thought I had it on my drive, but I don't. I gotta have it on my desktop. I did. Actually, I'm looking at my docs on my drive. No, it's not on my drive either. Okay, whatever. Let me go put it on my drive and then you can have it. See wherever I put that stuff. Under Blind Cat Studios. Oh yeah, here it is. Let me put this up here.
Let's see. Oh yeah, I'm just gonna pick that. No, it's not made for kids. No. Okay. Mm, mm, mm. Excuse me. Let's see. There is another one, I think. Artist, and then this is the program. Let's see. Let me fix this up too. Oh no, that looks okay. Save. Hmm. Let me. Almost done. Almost done. Hold on. What am I doing? Alright, what am I working on next? Parsable, how's it going? Um, alright, I just uploaded a YouTube video, just wrapping that up, and then we're gonna start working on another video. I might update my intro a little bit. I need to write down. I'm actually gonna write down some notes. I'm gonna write some notes. To, like, kind of talk about what, because I'm gonna make another video about. I just got my Unity certification for the user level, which is like the entry level stuff. I just want to talk about my experience there. Overall, I don't think many people have talked about that. I don't think many people think about getting these Unity certifications, but so it is the programmer certification, and um, course, I did get the course bundle. Course, I don't want to talk about the course. The practice tests, actual exam. And then I'm also gonna post this video on all my social media, everywhere, I think. Oh, and like auto posts to some places. Okay. Hold on. I think I actually gotta jump off, so I'll be right back. Gotta check on the kids real quick. Alright, I'm back. Let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna jump off in like 30 minutes, 20 minutes, like 20 minutes. Okay, what was I doing? Add in like 5 minutes. So yeah, going over the Unity certification, my like experience with it. I did get the course bundle. The course bundle was, let me see, let me go get all these links up. The one thing is that the user level experience is it's through Certiport. Who is it? Shoot. Whatever. What?
Look, it's fire.
I know, I saw it. Okay, Dad's gonna finish up work, okay? There.
It's rocket, Kaka.
No, that's not caca. What is that?
It's rocket.
Yeah. It's from the board right there.
Rocket.
Yeah.
Dad,
What?
I see.
What?
It's boring.
Yeah, because you guys are picking at it.
Dad.
Yeah.
Dad. It's boring.
So
Violence.
oh yeah, I know, a little spider. About and then yeah, just going over like the Unity certifications.
Like this.
Oh no!
Come on, let's go.
See you later. Okay. So it is certified user programmer is the thing. So like talking about the Unity certifications that that they offer. You have the user level, which is the very entry level one. And I'm just gonna be talking about this one. I think it ad's starting. But who's it for, I guess? Or and just like I make notes on this stuff so I can make my video. And I'll make my video tomorrow, I guess. Because I don't have time to go over it now. Ooh. And then I guess who is it? The costs. Let me see. So using buy now. What happened? What happened? I'll be out in a little bit. I don't know why. Oh. I swear I bought it through Unity. Oh, here it is. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to add my links to my YouTube video. I'm gonna go back. Um, so the exam, the retake, I got the bundle, the course, the practice test, the exam. Oh, so the exam itself is 130. I thought it was cheaper. I thought it was only 50, but it's 130. Practice test is 40. Online proctor gets it right. Okay, that was one of the things. So the exam, proctor fee, and then preparing for exam. It was 40 questions, minutes. The course bundle, the course itself. So we're gonna kind of run through a little practice test now, like what I would say. Which I try to do, like try to just prepare myself for um, this stuff. Like when I like make videos, like I don't just like half-ass making videos. Let me update this real quick. I forgot to put this the YouTube video. Go to and I don't have the Discord link here. Let me see if that is cancel. Let me hit save. I don't know if that's in my links here. It is. I don't know if this works. Oh, oh my goodness. So that does look like that's the correct link. So I'm gonna put that into the video. I need to put that into the settings. What okay, here. Save. Then I go to settings and I can just put stuff here. Default stuff. And score. And then I'm gonna put this first. Gotta promote myself more. Alright, so that should be okay if I go to that video. But I saw an ad, that was weird.
Robin with Heroes Legends Studios. That on the generate button. It's like I want these events to occur one at a time, but that's just part of making the script a little bit better and whatnot. So that's all this does is that it takes the collider is a trigger, and on trigger enter, it's going to hit.
Oh yeah, it's got my link here.
All those Unity events, all those actions.
Okay. But yeah, so talking about like, okay, so like, quick run through. Got like 5 minutes before I jump off. The so the Unity certifications. Okay, so Unity offers these certifications that you know, show like your level of skills when using Unity, and they offer a variety of like certifications. The one I'll be talking about today is the certified user programmer level. So the user is the entry level certification, and then there's the associate level and the professional level. Each level, like the user level, shows like you have foundational skills, you know how to use Unity, know how to code a little bit, and then you go on to the associate level, which shows that you have like a good amount of experience building games. You've developed some projects and everything, so you have a good amount of knowledge. So I think they say you have about 150 hours for the user level, and then I guess it doesn't really say, but I'm assuming you'll have like a lot more, maybe like 600 hours of Unity experience here. And then the professional level is you have years of experience like in the industry or like developing games. And but what does that mean for like the programmer levels, right? So the programmer is the only one that's in all three, and the artist too, right? Is in all three categories. Um, and what does it mean to have like a certification of like the game developer or the programmer? Today we're just going to be going over like the programmer because that's the certification I took. Um, and so like who is this for? Uh, Anybody who's like I feel like has some experience. Maybe you're looking for a job, you're looking for to get an internship, you have some experience in Unity, and you want to like buff up your your resume. This I think, or your LinkedIn profile. You'll get a badge and you can put the certification on your LinkedIn profile. Shows that you've been certified, you've been credited this badge by Unity, you've taken by Certify or Certiport, and you'll see like this. Maybe that does mean something, right? I think the user level is very entry level. I think if you're looking for a job, looking for an internship, it could help you. help you out, right? Uh, it's not gonna hurt, but let's go ahead and talk about this specific one, right? The user, so the programmer certification shows that you have experience in Unity. You know C# code. You have to be able to know the APIs and be able to like code, debug, and solve problems, right? For me, I've been coding for 12 years. This test was very easy. I took the practice tests. I got like 85%. I took the actual exam and I passed. I got 89%. You need like a score of like 70% to pass, right? Um, and so it was easy for me, but I did want to get like the full experience when talking about this and understanding like, okay, what are the requirements for this, and uh, how easy that test was going to be. Right. So know that these prerequisites are pretty accurate. When it's talking about programming a function state machine, this is talking about the animator. The animator. So you do need to know Unity and different parts of Unity, such as audio and animation. Right. And if you're going to prepare for this. So then there's also the so like let's talk about costs, right? So it goes through Certiport, and Certiport only handles the user certification. The associate and professional goes through Pearson View, which is also part of like Certiport. So here it says like high school and Unity beginners. Associates is like post-secondary, so you're in like college, you've made some projects and you want to be professional. I think I'd be able to pass this test like first try too. Um, and then the professional is like 2 to 4 years of Unity work experience. Like you have years of experience in the industry using Unity, like I was saying before. So why uh, could I pass this? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I definitely want to take practice tests before I like definitely do this, because I don't want to waste the money failing. But when we're talking about these costs, right? Um, Here's these costs. I'm going to talk about the bundle. I did get the bundle, but maybe you don't want to spend the extra money for the bundle. How much does it cost for the practice test? How much does it cost for the exam and the retake? I'm glad these guys have a retake value. The test to be certified is 130. Hopefully you pass it. If not, you pass it on your second try, right? You got to invest in yourself. You want to boost your resume. Say, hey, like I'm been certified. I know how to use Unity, whatnot. But I'm just gonna leave that at here because I've got to actually jump off. So, just prepping myself for the stuff. I'll be back tomorrow, and I'm gonna make this video tomorrow to start editing it tomorrow. But thanks everyone for hanging out. Blind Cat, we'll catch up more later. Percival, Pichu, thanks for hanging out, and I'll be back tomorrow. Cool. I'll see y'all later.